Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Into the Light with Many Minds Village. I am your host, Caden, and today we're going to talk about an issue that has been kind of plaguing society for a little while now. And we're going to address a little bit, kind of talk about some of the history around it and some of the statistics that we need the general public to be aware of. And, what we're going to do to start tackling this issue. We're going to be shining a light on kind of a pervasive problem that really often goes ignored: bullying in schools and its profound impact on juvenile mental health. So, jumping into this, let's start by looking at the numbers. According to recent studies, approximately 1 in 5 students in the United States has reported being bullied at school in recent times. That's a staggering number. But bullying isn't just a harmless rite of passage. It's not just little things. It's a serious issue with long-lasting consequences, even real recently potentially fatal consequences, particularly when it comes to mental health. Research consistently shows that victims of bullying are at a higher risk of experiencing things like anxiety, depression, even suicidal ideation and suicide. In fact, a study published in the Journal of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry found that children who are bullied are often more likely to develop mental health issues that persist well into adulthood. So why does bullying have such a profound impact on mental health? To understand this, we really need to recognize the complex dynamics at play. Bullying isn't just about teasing or name calling. It's about power. It's about control tactics. When a child is bullied, they often feel powerless and isolated, which can really erode their self-esteem and their sense of worth. Furthermore, the advent of social media has introduced new avenues for bullying to occur, extending the reach of torment beyond just the schoolyard and now into the digital realm with things like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok being an awful one. Cyberbullying, as it's known, can be particularly insidious as it allows the perpetrator to harass their victims around the clock. This can be done via video, via words on a post on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It can be done in photos, anything like that. But we have to also take a look at those who are affected and those who suffer from this, because it's not just the victims of bullying who suffer. Research also highlights the negative impact of bullying on the bullies themselves. Many bullies often come from troubled backgrounds and may be grappling with their own mental health issues. They may be perpetrating a cycle of aggression and hostility because they went through the aggression and hostility themselves. So what do we do? How do we address this pressing issue? And how do we make sure that we're doing our part as an individual? Yes, you listening to this. How do we do our part? Well, it starts with fostering a culture of empathy and being inclusive within our school systems and at home. Educators, parents, and even fellow students need to work together to create the environments where bullying is not tolerated and where every child feels safe and supported in their environment. We look at cases like Aubrey Wyatt, who was a recent case that we've been fighting, that, we've been trying to do some research on. We're trying to really understand what took place in that case. And, many other kids. I mean, there's kids locally here in Utah as well, but that case was brought to our attention recently. And bullying ended in Aubrey feeling so oppressed and so distanced from her life that she ended up taking her life. And that has been devastating. It's been devastating on her mom, who is continually fighting to get justice in this case. It's been really detrimental on her friends and her family that really cared and loved about her and supported her. So how do we address these issues? How do we fix this? How do we talk about what to do to fix this problem? Well, as we talk about in many mental health topics, early intervention is key. We need to identify those instances of bullying. We need to address those instances of bullying as soon as they arise. And then we can prevent further harm and provide the necessary support to those who need it most. But perhaps most importantly, we must continue to have open and honest conversations about bullying and specifically its impact on mental health. We've talked real recently on our podcast about we need to start treating mental health no different than we would treat physical health. You wouldn't ignore your kidney or your liver or your stomach or your throat going bad. You wouldn't ignore the flu. You sure as heck didn't ignore COVID. So we need to quit ignoring bullying, and we need to quit ignoring mental health problems. We need to treat them the same. And by doing so and raising awareness and breaking the silence around this issue, we can create a brighter and more compassionate future for all of our children. We need to remember that when we grew up in school, it really affects a lot of people. You know, I grew up in a school where I was bullied. My kids specifically has been bullied. And we had to identify it very quickly. And in order to do that, you have to be observant of your surroundings. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to know what to expect. And, you have to know your child and your child's school inside and out. There's a lot that can be discussed around this. When we talk about the long-lasting effects of bullying and long-lasting effects on mental health, victims of bullying really often, without knowing that there's bullying happening, could be diagnosed with anxiety, with depression, with low self-esteem, with feeling isolated because they don't want to tell anybody. Of course, that's embarrassing. But those are some really big issues, and they can be diagnosed with that without knowing that there's bullying happening. That can still be diagnosed after the fact. Well, even after they've come out about bullying, you get them into treatment and then those things come out. But then even beyond that, they may be struggling academically. They may be struggling with their grades, with their extracurricular activities, with things that they love doing. They may not want to do those things anymore, especially if the bully is involved in that specific area. They may have trouble forming or keeping relationships, and they may even really contemplate or commit suicide. And we really need to talk about this. Bystanders who sit back and watch, maybe there's a reason why those bystanders stood by and watched, because they didn't know how to respond. They didn't know what to do in that case. They may have their own insecurities. They may be being bullied at home or at school or even in their own situations, and people don't know about that. And so we don't, we can't judge a bystander for not saying or doing something about it because we don't know the situation. What we can do is educate them. And what we can do is help them feel that power back and help them feel like their voice matters. Bystanders, oftentimes after the fact, may feel guilt or fear or helplessness because they didn't know what to do in that situation, or they feel guilty because they didn't do something. And I'm here to tell you, as a bystander, if you witnessed a bullying episode a year ago, or even 6 months ago, or 2 years ago, if you know that situation happened and you know somebody is struggling because of that, please don't be afraid to let somebody know. So how can we effectively address this in schools and really support mental health for our youth and for the adults, for the administrators, the teachers, things like that are in those schools? Prevention is key. Just like when we talked about this episode of suicide, just like when we talk about any physical health characteristics, prevention is always key. Schools You need to be implementing comprehensive anti-bullying policies. You also need to be working on implementing programs that educate students, teachers, and parents about the harmful effects of bullying. You need to educate on how to report, who to report to, and how to take a stand. We also need to make sure that your school district and your specific school, be it elementary, junior high, high school, all of the schools need to have a policy on what happens when somebody reports bullying and the steps that need to be taken place when that episode is reported. And you need to take those reports seriously every single time. We need to make sure that we promote empathy, kindness, inclusivity. Everybody's different. Every one of us is our each own individual person. We are not alike. We have our similarities, but we are all different people. We need to make sure that we are including everybody and being empathetic and kind to anybody who crosses our paths. Early intervention is also super crucial. Schools need to be providing resources and support services for both the victims and the perpetrators of bullying. Why do we want to worry about the perpetrators? Well, because the person who is offending, is who is taking that step to be a bully, may have something going on in their own life. They may be victims of abuse. They may be living in poverty. They may be living in a horrible living situation. They may be being bullied themselves by other students, by other people, in church, in everywhere. It could be anywhere, guys. We need to be addressing it on both sides. We need to offer counseling. We need to offer peer support services, which we can talk about at the end of the episode. There are those services available, and we can help you connect with those. We can set them up with conflict resolution programs. That's something that can be done at the school level, at the district level, even at home, at church, wherever this may be happening. We need to be creating safe and supportive school environments where students feel empowered to speak up and seek help to combat bullying. We need to be addressing, in true American fashion, that we care about everybody. We need to be willing to have this conversation with our kids about what's happening in their schools and let them know that it is okay to talk about it. We need to be educating at home. Parents, adults, because that you are the majority of my listening population right now. If you have a child who has changed their behavior and who is acting different, they are not acting normal, that is one of the biggest signs that you can see in your own home that your child may be a victim of bullying, or maybe the perpetrator. If that's the case, we need to be getting him into therapy services. We need to be looking at peer support services. We need to be talking about what that looks like in the school and how that environment is being created. And then we take it to the school, and you are your child's advocate. You go to that school, you fight for them, you get the answers to that bullying situation. You find out how many other families are experiencing the same thing. Your child may not be the only one. Likely, statistics show that your child is not the only victim of a bully. Usually, bullies go after multiple people, and it's generally the same environment. It's generally the same reasons that they're being bullied. So, let's talk about some of those resources. One of the greatest resources that you can use, because we are a virtual society. We are an electronic society. We are on computers. We do our meetings virtually. And so the National Alliance for Mental Illness has created peer support services online. They have multiple of them weekly. If you don't feel like you could get support at the school level or at church or wherever it is that the situation is happening, you can get online to NAMI and you can look at the programs that they have. They have peer support services. They have family support services. They also have resources directing you to individual therapy for either yourself or your child or your whole family together. And they connect you with all of those programs. If you don't feel like you could make that connection yourself, if you feel like you can see the problem and you know there's something going on, but you are afraid, or uncomfortable with advocating or fighting for your child or fighting for yourself, that is where organizations like Mending Minds Village come to play. We are happy to make those phone calls. If you are close enough to us, I am happy to go into those locations and have face-to-face conversations and fight and advocate for your child's safety and your child's mental health as well as your own. We have to start having this conversation differently. This has to be something that we all actively participate in. If only 5 or 10% of us do this, it's never going to get changed. It's never going to be different. You know, when you start talking about taking down an elephant or taking down a lion or taking down an army, it has to be done as an army. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. So utilize the allies and the advocates that you have around you. Even if it's not Mending Minds Village, if you have other advocates that you already are familiar with, please reach out to them. They are more than happy to fight these battles for you. There are several in different areas, so it could be any number of things that you are able to get help with. So, you know, we talk about a little bit about, you know, it could be in the schools or it could be at home, but now I know you're listening to this and you're thinking, not my child, not my house, not my child. But I assure you that the amount of children that are affected by this are more than those that are not at this point. When we start doing our research and we start asking questions about bullying, we've created a survey because we're curious. I want to know how big of a problem this truly is. And so we started talking about it. We started asking questions. And now we're getting contacted by people all over this country that know hundreds of people that have been affected by bullying, whether they're being bullied themselves or their friends are being bullied and they don't know what to do about it. It is a pervasive issue. It is happening in schools all over the country, all over the world. And it's become a massive problem, and social media is not helping. Now, am I saying to go remove your kid from social media right now today? Absolutely not. I know that social media is used for research. I know that social media is used to get information from all walks of life. You know, I learn things every day on TikTok and Facebook. And so I'm not saying to take it away. What I'm saying to do is limit the use and limit the amount of use that they are having, and also to watch them and find out for yourself what is happening on their social media. Maybe have a family account, maybe have a child, you know, a parent and child account, but definitely monitor what is happening on their social media, because that's one of the greatest ways that you can get involved. And you can say, I will not tolerate you being a bully, and I will not tolerate somebody else bullying you. And make sure that they feel empowered. Make sure that they feel like they have a voice. And if they have a voice at home, they're going to have a voice at school. Whatever you want them to feel has to be created at home. And, you know, we talked a little bit about that I've been through it. We've talked that my kids have been through it. But it's beyond our house. We know people here in the county that because of bullying in this county, they've removed their children from school because it is not managed. So what are we doing? We're trying to find out how to start implementing better programs in the schools. We're having those conversations. We're getting down into that level. We are not just sitting by and watching it go and making sure, you know, just letting things happen and letting it be what it is. That's not going to work in my house. Certainly not going to work for the organization. And I'm not going to do it for our family, nor am I going to do it for yours. Once I connect with you, once you are affiliated with Mending Minds Village at all, you become family. And my family, we stick together. So I want you to create that environment in your home as well. Now, what if you're the bully? Well, that's kind of a weird question, isn't it? How do I know? How do I know if I'm the bully? Are you going out of your way to make somebody feel less than you? Are you going out of your way to make sure somebody's day is worse than yours because you feel little yourself and you can't admit that? Are you threatening? Are you physically violent? Are you verbally assaultive? Are you any number of things like that? You very well could be the bully. Now, does that mean that you're doing that as a parent and, that can't be a different level? Of course it does. But what I'm saying is we need to start looking within, looking at ourselves and making sure that we as individuals are not being the problem and we're not creating that situation at home. We also need to show our children by our actions that we will not tolerate bullying, and we need to be there to help in their cases when they are being bullied or feel like they are. We also need to be able to respond when our children are the problem. I have no problem admitting to you that my son has been the problem, and I did not tolerate it. I would not listen to it. Bullying is not acceptable. I don't care what the reasoning is. Bullying is not acceptable. So we had a conversation in front of his friends that bullying was not tolerated. And I'm telling you, having that conversation and explaining it on a deep level why bullying is not tolerated changed his attitude, and it changed what he does. You may not have to do that in front of all of the friends. You may be able to have that conversation with your child by yourself, and that's okay. But I want you to have those conversations, and I want you to let your children know that if they are being bullied, that it's okay to speak up. And if you're an adult and you feel like you are a victim in bullying, it is okay to speak up. It is okay to be heard. It is more than acceptable to say to somebody that you are not comfortable with their behavior or their voice, and that they need to change their tone. I want you to make a difference in your environment this week. I want you to personally ensure the safety of those that you care about and love. That doesn't mean pick a fight. That doesn't mean go out and certainly I'm not promoting violence in any fashion. I am asking you to promote positivity, empathy, kindness, support, and let them know that they're not alone, and let them know that bullying will not be tolerated. And if they are being bullied, I want you to speak up for them or find somebody who can. It is super, super important that we do not allow bullying to continue in this country. I want you to remember that bullying is not a rite of passage, and it is not simply kids being kids. And that statement is made so often. That is not kids being kids. Kids being kids play and roughhouse and have fun. Bullying leads to self-harm and leads to massive mental health issues, and that is not okay. It's a serious issue, and it requires our collective attention and action. So by raising awareness, fostering empathy, promoting those positive relationships, we can create schools and homes where every single child feels safe, valued, and supported, and feels like they can better their mental health journey. I want to thank you for listening into this episode. I know that it was heavy. I know that I'm asking you to do some things that are going to change your situation, and that's uncomfortable. But being uncomfortable is okay. And I want you to feel that. I want you to feel that even though you're uncomfortable, that it really is okay. Let's talk a little bit lighter for a minute. Mending Minds Village has been invited to participate in the Wasatch Back Ragnar race that is happening on June 7th, 2024, right here in Morgan, Utah. They are running from Brigham City, from Logan, Utah State University, all the way down to Solitude Ski Resort in Salt Lake City, Utah. And so it is a big race. That is a 200-mile race. They are going to stop at 3 of our booth locations in Morgan. And we need your help. we need volunteers. We need donations so that we can put up some items for those families that are the teams that are running. We have the potential of exposing Mending Minds Village to up to 6,500 people. That's a big number. That's amazing. And we're so excited, so grateful to be involved in this event. So we need your help. For every donation that comes in, for every item that's donated for these booths, you're going to get stickers, you're going to get pins, you're going to get bracelets from us in partnership with the I'm Glad You Stayed project. You're also going to get a personalized letter. You're also going to get mentioned on all of our social media pages. And anybody who donates a significant number, anybody who donates a significant amount, may also be featured on a news report or on our press release that will be around this race and this partnership. So let me know if you're interested in that. If you are, we'd love to hear from you. If you're not, please share this with somebody. You may not know that somebody may be interested in supporting mental health projects. The other thing, you guys, we want to thank all of our supporters that helped and stepped up for the first donation to the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation. We took the donation to the Institute, to the inpatient facility for those kids. We were able to donate a lot of stuff, you guys. We were able to donate quite a few items like crayons and Play-Doh. We got all the shampoo and conditioner. You guys, we had 8 bottles of shampoo and 8 bottles of conditioner that were donated. Plus, we had some other hair care products, some brushes and combs and, little head covers and things like that. Amazing, amazing turnout. Because of your donations and because of your support, we were able to partner with the Paul Mitchell School for hair care, and they also, the owner of that happened to know an owner of a Great Clips location here in St. George, Utah, and collectively they are donating almost twice as much product, you guys. Almost twice as much product. And we're still collecting items. We're going to have boxes that we're going to put up this week. So if you are interested in donating to that, again, we are going to be doing that monthly. We are going to make sure these kiddos are taken care of every single month. So if you are interested in participating in that donation, please reach out to us and we will let you know where the boxes are or how you can get items to us. That is going to be an ongoing partnership, you guys. We have made amazing connections with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation. Tyra has been an amazing connection there, and she's helping us every step of the way. We've got Dustin that has been amazing at the Institute itself, that he's been letting us know what those kiddos need so that we can get those items to them. We're also putting together a pretty cool event, and we are looking for bands. We have one band that is already committed to participating, and we're going to look for probably 2 or 3 more bands at least. And we're going to do a Battle of the Bands fundraiser event in November in St. George, Utah. We're working on location, so if you'd like to host that event, please let me know. We'd love to connect with you on that. We're also looking for some, potential ideas on things that you would like to see at a Battle of the Bands event. So please let us know what you'd like to see. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. It's been a pleasure. We love bringing you new episodes. I've got more coming to you. Of course, next week we'll have another new episode. We want to apologize for the lapse there in a week of episodes. We had a lot going on that last week, and we did not get an episode done. So I apologize for that. That was totally my bad. But you've got this episode, and next week we'll bring you another great episode. Until next time, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Prevent bullying. Really, really encourage mental health treatment and mental health stability. And come right back here next week for another great episode right here, Into the Light with Mending Minds Village. Have a great week, you guys. Bye-bye.